Hello, everybody. Thank you for joining me. I have a message. You may want to hear it. Everything you've been searching for is already within you, and this is not a shallow statement. We are not here to discover the truth. We are not here to align with another's interpretation of what is. But we are here to uncover that which already resides within. Awakening, therefore, is not an act or a process of cultivating yourself into an enlightened state, but a process of discarding that which was masking the true self. I could give you a list of illusions: fear, shame, doubt, judgment, disconnection, separation. Yes, I could tell you exactly which illusions make you ill. But this journey has never been about consciously determining that an awakened state is achieved. The enlightened state is not cultivated, it is uncovered. If we are able to tap into a sense of cohesion within, where we are trusting every ounce of ourselves and thus creation without doubt, even for a fraction of a second, that means we are able to set free that inner unity eternally. If it resides in you, it can be you. And yes, it is inner unity we're searching for. The external muck we've observed, everything we have found distasteful about the world, is not really what we've aimed to unify. One can unify people into businesses, into charities, into organizations, into parties, within group projects. One can rearrange his or her home in the proper way. But if the inner remains ununified, then what really are we doing? For years, we've heard the proclamation that humanity must come together. But how would humanity come together if its pieces aren't together within? This is how we can understand. No amount of charity, work, communication, or organization will ever reap the, quote, proper results of harmony. It's as within, so without. This is the greatest secret. I can solve as many puzzles as I want, but if my inner voice shouts for comfort and relief, then what am I really doing? We've been on a voyage of canceling out that which has guided us away from self. And self, by the way, is not in opposition to creation. The cosmos lie within. Therefore, the centrality of the universe may as well reside in every breath you take and every word you speak. It's funny, isn't it? We are not achieving divinity, we are just remembering it. All of the rabbit holes we've gone through have been there to lead us into figuring out the nonsense of aiming to make sense of the outer. It's like, why can't I find the truth? Because you've been looking outside yourself. Why do things seem so confusing? It's because the outer won't make sense until the inner does. It all makes sense once we relinquish the need to get it. Do you get it? I don't know, do you? I think of the academic. The academic aims to compile research, quotes, and written guidance, all in order to make a grand conclusion. I could write a glorious essay on the 13th century philosopher Francis Bacon and his impact on the world, but if I feel self-conscious about my appearance, then what significance would a fucking book hold? Whatever it is, a person, a thing, an event, a piece of music, a walk in the park, the meaning of it does not reside in its objective meaning, but resides in how you're able to interact with it. And without a sense of inner comfort, ease, and sovereignty, it will all feel utterly meaningless. The more one surrenders to the self, the less one feels the need to battle the self against the environment. When I say strengthen the self, the inner voice of dualism might suggest, well, that could lead to egotism. Watch out. But it's actually the opposite. To strengthen the self is to become unburdened by illusion. And when we're unburdened, there is no longer an incongruence felt between what one receives and who one is. Therefore, one resides in love and, in essence, disappears. Think of it this way. I am here, and I am complete. Therefore, I need not maintain that I am distinct from the experience of the now. After all, I am what I receive, and what I receive was input by me. You deserve nothing less than full authenticity. But the question has always been, how can I find it? Where are the answers? We don't master ourselves by holding on to doctrines of others, the words of others. I ask you right now not even to hold on to the words I'm speaking. Libraries are full of books, but is that where the truth is found? Where is it? I don't know. Maybe, just maybe, the maze of confusion was designed to lead yourself back into inner completion. Yes, there is lots of knowledge we can digest, but there's no ledge to knowledge. It's funny. For a world with so many books and videos on emotional, physical, and spiritual healing, there are so few representations of a fully healed individual. This in itself should tell you the only way is in. And this matrix, of course, is an inverted reflection of who you really are. And what's everyone doing? Searching, grasping, justifying old or new beliefs, all because the truth has been confused with complexity. The truth can't be straightforward. Can it? No, darling, it actually can be and is. The devil is in the details. This is one of my favorite phrases for a reason, because complexity leads to complication and confusion. Complexity requires contraction to keep all of its parts from creating too much chaos. And contracts, of course, bind us. We're looking, however, to expand. Think of one of those big, scary corporation things. There are so many aspects of a corporation, and contracts are required to squeeze them together into something that can function. Transpose this to your own being. Will that ever work? I don't know. Simplicity, on the other hand, just is. This is the idea of the path of least resistance. We've heard the phrase, be like water. Being like water is not about dissolving yourself. It's about feeling the power within and thus allowing all of creation to envelop you as if you aren't distinct from creation, and you're not. Confusion arises when uncertainty is present in the psyche. And that's natural. We've all been uncertain, confused about our place in the world, our place within ourselves, what it all means. All seekers of truth have been confused at one point or another by the vast array of opinions and spiritual guidance. But now is the time of great transformation, and no living soul is being left behind. The realization that all is well and always has been is trickling ever so swiftly into the collective consciousness. We are understanding who we are through recognizing what doesn't serve simplicity. Let's talk about purpose. The need for purpose is actually non-existent. Grasping for purpose is the same thing as grasping for the answers in a book. The Matrix runs on the idea of find your purpose. Guidance has foolishly taught us that in purpose lies what we desire. But we cannot manufacture purpose because the purpose is nothing. That's not to say we don't find inspiration. That's not to say we can act on an inner willingness to create art. Of course, we can allow ourselves to play with creation. Motion is a constant. So what we would see as purpose is never singular or stagnant. Purpose is always changing, because if you fulfill a purpose, then what becomes of that purpose then? Just to be is to fulfill that which we have designated purpose to fulfill. That's frustrating, right? In being, there is no defined purpose. I don't need to define what I must fulfill to know that each step I take grants myself passage into more unification. If every step I take didn't lead me further into myself, then what would? If every step I take didn't lead me further into myself, then what would? I need not define my purpose, define my goal. I simply need to let everything unfold out of me. Keep up the great work.